Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, new mic, Cantonese Cat here. Hopefully I sound better, I think I do. I'm just here to kind of give you an update on Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Microstrategy, maybe Coinbase, and Robinhood. The bottom line is don't worry about it. This is a 3-month chart of Bitcoin. So far, we are about almost a couple weeks away from closing this candle, right? So far, it's just basically an inside candle consolidation underneath this big candle over here. Is a little bit meaningless. Generally, you have two up candle, you have one sideways down candle to kind of cool things off, another 2 3-month candles over here that went really fast, and next thing you know, just cooling off over here. No big deal, right? Whales are still in. And if you look at the previous cycle here, like you can see how the previous cycle here just got completely burned up because there's like 4 big giant green candles over here, especially the last 2. It just completely exhausted the trend, right? The cycle before that, you have one up, one sideways, one up, one sideways, one up, one sideways, eventually 3 big bam candles up. Really trying to exhaust the trend over here. We're not really seeing that, we're not even really making that much of a higher high, to be honest, like maybe a little bit of a higher high. And again, because it did make a higher high, it does want you to kind of give it a benefit of the doubt that there's going to be some bullish continuation here, right? So I think the 3-month chart looks pretty good. I'm going to go to the monthly chart here. Monthly chart has really been just going sideways over here for about 4 months, doing not much, right? You are going to get some period of consolidation sometimes on this way up on the bull market when it's forming a higher high and try to find a little bit of higher low. It could go sideways for months before breaking out. There are previous examples for that. For example, over here, around March, April, all the way through September 2023, Bitcoin has done absolutely nothing. Got everybody frustrated, right? And also from the previous cycle, there have been period of time where it just did absolutely nothing over here for like a whole year. And then before that, the cycle before that, it can just go sideways over here for about 6 months and do absolutely nothing. 4 or 5 months and do absolutely nothing before a little bit more of a parabolic bull trend is coming, right? So as far as I'm concerned, look at the monthly, whales are still very significantly in. And if you look at a couple of things too, I'm going to pull up the RSI over here. It really hasn't been that overbought. Usually with, again, I made like another video to talk about like, the top 10 reasons to why I think Bitcoin hasn't topped yet. But usually the RSI for a cycle to be really completely overheated, for whales to really want to distribute the coins to you at a higher price, usually we see RSI for Bitcoin can hit up all the way to like 90 and hit this trend line over here and get rejected. And that would end up having potentially, a pretty parabolic bull run over here. Right now, it's just kind of stuck in resistance. We're trying to break out. We're not able to. And because of that, I think price can go down to test some of the lower levels down here before going up further. But again, whales are in, so I'm not really that worried about it. I'm not really seeing any like bad bearish diversions or anything like that. Although if prices end up going break out above, you might end up initially kind of try to break above using some bearish diversions, maybe a little bit, resistance here, which is why we're having a hard time breaking above the current zone. But so far, not looking too bad. Why is price kind of stuck? Well, you did spend about half a year going up parabolically, and you have to cool down because things just got a little too far away from the Tenkan line over here. And you're going to wait for a Tenkan line to eventually push up, and I think it's going to end up doing that next month. So even if June ends up being another sideways month, that's okay. The Tenkan will eventually catch up to price, or price would potentially go down further, but because of how strong Bitcoin is, it couldn't even really get down underneath to get close to the Tenkan, the blue line down here. So it's just been really strong. You can see that the Bollinger Band has been expanded, and because of the sideways action here, it's a little bit contracted. But you can see that we really haven't had that parabolic movement up quite just yet, because usually for each of these Bitcoin cycles, you see the lower Bollinger Band expand all the way down at the beginning of around the mid cycle or so, I should say. And so far, we haven't really had that. The sideways consolidation has really actually caused a little bit of contraction. And these kind of contraction, you can see on its way up, you can see a little bit of contractions over here. So I think that we might actually be closer to around here at this cycle as opposed to over here, right? We'll see whether or not we're able to get the Bollinger Band expansion. Whales certainly look like it wants to, but we'll see. Now, what kind of support are we finding up here? Why is price kind of stuck around this range over here from the resistance up here above? And why are we having a hard time kind of breaking down of it? Well, if you look at the Super Ichi cloud, which is a variant of the Ichimoku cloud taking into account the super trend, you can see it's been finding support here at the Super Ichi Tenkan very, very nicely, and it's just been consolidating on declining volume. So I'm not sure whether or not prices go down that much further. You're having some renewed people talking about price making a barred pattern and going back down to a lot of these lower levels again. And because of that, I think that it's probably going to end up going higher. The whales certainly think so, right? You look at a weekly, I also think that the weekly chart is telling you in terms of what could happen. Again, it's already got, it's like way up here, it's got a lot of support. It's a bull trend because Tenkan's above Kijun. And, you know, Tenkan right now is around 64,200. So I can see that potentially being a pretty decent support. And if you need further support, you have the bull market support band right underneath of it that it just bounced off of just a few weeks ago. So there is a lot of support potentially push price a lot higher if need be, right? Currently, consolidations on really declining volume, like all this stuff right here is a little bit meaningless. Although it did have a very, very nice bullish candle over here a few weeks ago, like a bullish hammer candle over here. So I think there's plenty of plenty of demand underneath that has already been tested. I don't think it has to go down that much further. And I think you got plenty of support over here. So I'm not really that worried about Bitcoin. If it ends up going a little bit lower to like, 64, 61, 62, somewhere around here, that's fine. I don't really care. All it's doing right now is just doing a little bit of a ranging, between these two zones over here. So no big deal so far. I'm not really that concerned. Whales are still in. They're still like almost like 85% in still, right? So not much of a big concern here. I'm going to show you a Bollinger Band as to why I think that maybe we're going to getting a pretty decent move up pretty soon. Is because you're starting to get a little bit of a squeezy Bollinger Band over here. Whenever you have price going sideways, the Bollinger Band tends to squeeze after a while. And whenever you have squeezing the Bollinger Band, it usually precipitate a more powerful move up. And because all the support that I was just showing you again, if you look at the Bollinger support band, that's a support right underneath, which includes the 20-week moving average. You look at Ichimoku Cloud, it's playing a support underneath, right? So I can see that most likely if price ends up making a parabolic move, one way or another is probably going to end up going up higher. Now, I do think that Ethereum is going to do a lot better moving forward. There are a couple of reasons as to why I think that is. The chart actually looks really, really bullish. This is the weekly chart for Ethereum. You can see that it's got a little bit of rising 3 methods to it. The whole idea is that you have a big giant green candle and then bulls have to take a break, right? And they just kind of let bears to do their thing and see how much further they can bring price back down and see whether or not they can reverse this whole candle over here. There's a lot of bearish energy that's already been expended over the last 3 weeks, and it basically just cut the bullish candle over here by half. They couldn't even get down that much further. When bulls are not impressed, when they're taking a break, they're going to come back, and next thing you know, there could be a big giant green candle going up a lot higher. The selling volume is also very pathetic, and whales continue to be in it, right? Currently, it's like around about like 90% whale, even after this big giant red candle that we have so far this week. That's going to end up closing on Sunday. So we'll see. I do have I guess I do have a hunch that I think we probably have found a local bottom. The reason why is if you look at the weekly Ichimoku Cloud, the Tenkan line is right there, and it looks like we're finding support right around 3,400 or so. I think that's going to be a pretty good support zone. And you can see this both in the Ichimoku Cloud and the Super Ichi Cloud, like they're confluent with this Tenkan, so that's going to be a pretty important support zone. What if it doesn't hold, right? What if it doesn't hold, and where are you going to find support zone? Well, let's look at a volume shelf. You pull up the volume shelf, you can pull up all the way from over here. The volume shelf is really telling you that, hey, you're actually going to find some support at the current level right around 3,400, right? Which is why I think we're going to end up bouncing from that. The level before, maybe 3,300. There's some greedy people that are waiting for 3,300 before buying. I saw a couple of them actually respond back to my X and telling me that. And could it go down further? Sure it can. If you look at the Ichimoku again, you have the Kijun line down here around 3,100. You have the bull market support band down here, which is going to be ranging around 3,300 all the way to 3,200. So you have plenty of support down below. So what if I'm wrong? If it didn't end up bottoming over in 3,400, could it go down lower? Sure. Is it going to be going that much down lower? Probably not. and the upside potential is greater than any potential risk at this point because it's a bull trend, because it's doing rising 3 methods, because there's plenty of support underneath, and because the current selling pressure in terms of volume is pathetic, and because the whales are still in. I also want to show you in terms of why I think that Ethereum would also potentially outperform. You just look at the monthly chart. I'm going to get rid of this thing right here. You just look at the monthly chart. I'm going to get rid of all these drawing over here, and I'm just going to pull up the monthly Ichimoku cloud. First of all, you just look at whales. They're still in. Like, whales are like 95% in. This is a very, very nice bull trend. It's going to go up further given time. It's just bounced off of Tenkan. Like, this is a lot less overextended compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a little bit overextended. That's why I think moving forward, Ethereum might actually end up outperforming. Backtested the cloud, backtested the Tenkan. Looking very, very nice. And plenty of whales in, right? So most likely it's going to end up going higher. And it's also a lot less further extended. The upper Bollinger Band looks like it wants to expand. It's just been kind of going sideways here a little bit. It just needed to cool down, right? It went way above the upper Bollinger Band over here during the month of February and March. Just have to cool down here a little bit, no big deal. And right now it's been cooling down enough. I think we probably end up going pretty much exploding, perhaps later on this month. If not, in the month of July, I think it's probably going to end up going a lot higher based on what I'm seeing. The other couple of things here too would be, if you look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which is an Ethereum over Bitcoin chart, I'm going to pull back, going back to the weekly here. On a weekly, you're seeing a very similar picture of a rising 3 methods, right? Big giant green candle. Bears have been trying to push it down, unable to do so, right? You pull up the Ichimoku cloud. Guess what? We got rejected here at the top of the cloud, and we're finding support down here at the Tenkan and Kijun with this rising 3 kind of thing on declining pathetic volume. I think you're going to end up having a big giant green candle that's going to push to the top of the cloud, and Ethereum is going to be pretty bullish moving forward if the rising 3 method works, right? Currently, so far, there's no reason to think that it wouldn't because of pathetic volume with this selling, and because of rising 3, look to it, because you're also finding plenty of support over here, right? That's one consideration as to why I think Ethereum is going to end up outperforming. Another consideration as to why I think Ethereum is going to end up outperforming is, you look at Bitcoin dominance on the weekly chart. It's been forming the opposite of a rising 3 method, which is the falling 3 methods. There is something called the falling 3 methods, where you have a big giant red candle over here, and the bull's trying to push up on low volume, declining volume here for 3 weeks in a row, unable to get back above over here. Next thing you know, the bears for Bitcoin dominance are going to come, and they're going to drag it down a lot further, possibly even down to the Ichimoku cloud down here. This whole Bitcoin dominance trend has been looking weaker and weaker, really for over the last year and a half now. It's just been looking like a little bit around the top over here. So I think most likely it's probably going to end up breaking down over here. Maybe it gets all the way down to the cloud over the next few months, and maybe even breaks underneath the cloud and goes down lower. We'll see. Right. So there are a couple of things here that makes me a little bit more bullish when it comes to Ethereum. A couple of quick thing too, we're talking about MicroStrategy. A lot of people are very interested in MicroStrategy still. All I have to say about MicroStrategy, obviously, is a leverage play of Bitcoin. You look at the whales, they're still in. It's like 88-89% whales on a monthly. Don't worry about it. Price is still a little bit above the Tenkan. It's just waiting for the Tenkan to kind of go up before going up higher, right? But I do think that the wake up here, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you the Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Band over here, that's where price is kind of oscillating around for the month of June. It's serving a little bit as a magnet, and it'll probably continue to expand because the lower Bollinger Band has already expanded all the way down, right? This whole thing right here has just been consolidation on declining volume. There's no reason to think this won't go higher given time, because of the increase in whale trend over here. And because I'm not really seeing any potential exhaustion, because I also think that Bitcoin's probably going to end up going higher. So there are a few things to think about. MicroStrategy is going to keep going. Now, if you're wondering about the levels in terms of what the volatility is, you want to trade in and out of it, it's a little bit tough for me to say. The upper Bollinger Band right now is 1544 or 1545. So I think it's probably going to serve as a little bit of a magnet probably for the rest of the month, to be honest with you. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, again, you have some of the levels down here around 11 1050, you know, which we have back tested down here, and also another level around like 1070, which I've back tested already for the last couple months. I don't think we need to go back down there again. If you look at the weekly, it might give you a little bit more relevant levels over here on the weekly. If you put up the Ichimoku cloud, it could potentially back test on level down here around like 1381, 1380, somewhere around there. That's possible. Or maybe even go back down and test the Tenkan over here around 1200. Those are also possible, but does it have to? No, it's just been forming a little bit of bull flag over here. Looking pretty nice. You're going to pull up the bullish support band. You can see around, you know, about 1300 or so. You have a very nice bullish support band over here, which it bounced from back in late April 2024. If it ends up correcting down here, I think there's a little bit of a limited downside here, and I'm not really that worried about MicroStrategy. If you're looking at the potential downside versus this bull flag finishing up and finding support somewhere down here around 1380 or something like that, and then end up making like a pretty big move over the next couple months, you know, put down potential downside, potential upsides. You make the judgment call, right? It's been consolidating for so long, and looking at the Bollinger Band, it looks like it's recontracting. Looks like it wants to squeeze. Maybe another few weeks or so. Maybe come back and back test some of this stuff before going higher. We'll see, right? But if you're already in it, you know, if you want to try to sell out and buy lower, maybe you can. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I really care about to trade that move. But if you're a day trader, go for it. You know, makes sense to, I suppose, you know, sell and try to buy lower if you can. But I guess there's no guarantee, right? Weekly chart also shows that there's still a lot of whales. There's like minimal retail whales currently. It's like more than like 75%. So it's in a very good condition for it to go up higher over time. I'm not really that worried about it. If you look at the GAN that I've drew over here with the GAN, and also have these Fibonacci levels over here to show you in terms of where I think the potential price target would be for MicroStrategy. It really depends on what Bitcoin does. I hesitate to give you a Bitcoin price target because it can be quite variable, because there's no guarantee. I just want to show you the potential of what MicroStrategy could do if it ends up breaking the arc over here and it ends up breaking the 1.618 around 2000. It could go up to around 3200, somewhere around there, right? This is going to be the next level. After that, you're really talking about the 5, 6, 7,000s up here. Depending on this ends up being the Bitcoin top. For example, Bitcoin goes up to like 150, 175,000. I think MicroStrategy is probably going to end up 5, 6, 7,000. And that could be the market top. There's also a potential where people might front run selling. MicroStrategy might be running out of gas before Bitcoin runs out of gas. And that's what had happened last cycle, right? MicroStrategy went all the way to around like 1,300 in February 2021. Bitcoin went ahead and made another new higher high for November 2021, but MicroStrategy never quite got there, right? So who knows? Maybe it ends up hitting up around the 6,000 range. Bitcoin goes up higher, and then MicroStrategy just never did, you know. Or maybe it just ends up hitting this horizontal zone up here, and that would be it, right? Or it might just end up hitting the top of this arc right here, and that would be it. Or this could be a cycle top over here, and that would be it. Although I just made like a video talking about the top 10 reasons to why I don't think Bitcoin has topped, so I don't think MicroStrategy has topped yet. Most likely there's still a ways to go. That is my thinking of MicroStrategy. Now I'm going to talk about Coinbase here, get that over with. The monthly chart looks just like, you know, Ethereum, to be completely honest. I don't have a whole lot to add. It looks just like Ethereum. It's gotten close to the Tenkan Kijun and it bounced up. So far, it's just been nothing but sideways action. Oh, going back to MicroStrategy, I want to show you like this candle right here, this candle over here, and this candle over here. These are all inside candles for the candle back in March of 2024. What does that mean? It means we're consolidating in the range inside a previous candle. That means that once the consolidation is over, you're going to pick a direction up or down, and the likelihood of what it's going to do is going to end up having a trend continuation. So usually if you have an inside candle like this, usually it ends up happening is going to be a trend continuation, which I think, you know, MicroStrategy is going to end up keep pushing up. We don't quite have like an inside candle over here, but it's a very, very similar concept so far. And I do think that whales are continue to be in, and they continue to be dominant. The monthly is greater than 50%. So pretty decent so far, right? If you look at a Bollinger Band, again, I think most likely the upper Bollinger Band currently is around 260. It's going to end up serving as magnet and allow price to go up higher from there. And the other couple of things too is if you look at the weekly chart, all it is really doing is just keeps on forming these cup and handle, and then another big giant cup over here and a handle pattern over here. Whales have really slowly coming in, and really, like over the last really close to like 8 or 9 months or so, whales have really been predominant. Even during the sideways over here, like whales are not leaving. There's a lot of whalish momentum that are here. So I think most likely you're going to end up having a lot of bullish continuation after this. And price currently is above the Tenkan and Kijun over here. You have a very, very nice bull trend over here on the Ichimoku cloud, above the Ichimoku cloud. You're looking at Bollinger Band, again, very similar, right, to Ethereum. You get a little bit of a squeezy look to it. Very similar to Ethereum. It's above the bull market support band. It back tested the bull market support band a couple of times over here. Most likely is going to having a lot of bullish continuation. It's just a matter of time. In terms of what the potential price target is for Coinbase, again, it depends on what altcoins, depends on what Bitcoin does. But if you ask me, I think that there's a potential for it to hit some of the upper arcs over here around like the 300-400 range. And once you're able to break about 500, which is confluent to all these like arc and horizontal line over here, once you break about 500, there's a potential for it to go up to, some of these higher targets up here, which is going to be around like 1,000. I think like, I honestly think it's entirely possible. Or even like 1,250. I think that's also entirely possible, depending on how irrational the bull market becomes, depending on how things go, right? But that's kind of what I'm seeing here for Coinbase. Obviously, you still have a lot of resistance to break through before you get there, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here for Coinbase. Robinhood, just getting a little bit too far extended over here about the Bollinger Band on the weekly. On the monthly too, it's just way too far overextended. Like it looks like it wants to go higher. Bollinger Band is like completely trying to open its mouth and trying to expand upwards, right? Let me get rid of it again over here. It's going to show you a little bit more clearly. You can see that the Bollinger Band on the monthly is like just expanding like crazy. It's hungry. It wants to go up higher, but it just has a hard time doing that because the Bollinger Band is not expanded well enough yet. But it will, and it will keep going higher. Whales continue to come in. Right now you have close to about 50% whales on the monthly here. On the weekly, it's been predominating. Like on the weekly, you're like 90-something%, like you're not 90% whales, right? And it also is so impulsive that they couldn't even get close to the 20-week moving average just a few weeks ago. They couldn't even touch it. That's how impulsive it is. It wants to go higher, but it's having a little bit of a hard time because it's waiting for the monthly Bollinger Band to expand. As far as I'm concerned, that's what Robinhood is doing. You also look at Ichimoku too. You also have a hard time really expanding it further because the Tenkan and Kijun is still way underneath the current price right now. But I think that once you're able to have all of these indicators trying to push up as support, Robinhood is probably going to end up going a lot higher over time. Now, couple of things. Let me go back to the weekly here. If we put a weekly Ichimoku cloud, what are you going to see? Well, you do have a lot of support down here, right? Around 20.5. If price ends up going down there, that would be a retest of this high over here, and that would also be another higher low before going up higher. So it can entirely come back down to like 20.5, and that would not even faze me at all. And that might be a buying opportunity for those who have not really gotten into it. And so yeah, again, 20.5 is probably going to be a good area. And if you look at the bull market support band, it's like way underneath over here. So 18, it would be a very, very strong location if it ends up getting down here to like 18 or so, although I doubt it, right? Look at the whales. Look at how impulsive price action has been. So far this week does have a little bit of like a toppy kind of candle over here. This looks a little bit like a gravestone candle. This is a little bit of a worrisome look to it. Whenever you have a gravestone, generally it might mean like a local top, and it might end up coming back down and test like 20.5. That's my guess before bullish continuation. I'm not selling. I'm not trying to sell and buy out of that little tiny move right here. I think it's going to end up going higher over time, and I just want to ride the trend. I'm lazy. That's what cats do. We are lazy. So looking at the GAN picture that I have here, honestly, this might be a local top. I thought it might have been going to be able to hit some of the higher levels like 25, 26, 27, somewhere I heard before hitting that, but it looks like it wants to take a break maybe. maybe back down, back test, around like 20 and a half, somewhere around here, right at the line over there, right? Before a further bullish continuation and trying to break through the arcs over here around 28 before going to 35. So a lot of resistance above still. Oh, after 35, where it's going to go? The arc up here around like 40, 45 or so. Would that be the end of the cycle? Maybe it can hit some of the higher arc over here around 60 or 80s. You might challenge previous all-time high over here too. It looks like it wants to go up higher. It's just so impulsive. Like this whole thing right here just wants to look like it just keeps on wanting to go up higher. So it might backtest some stuff, but that would still be a higher low. I'm not really that worried about the stock, even if it goes down, right? Another reason as to why I think that we're a little bit exhausted and why we have that gravestone candle over here for this week is, simply because we do have a little bit of a bearish divergence. RSI has gone down, price has gone up. You're having a little bit of exhaustion here. I think you probably end up coming back down. There's a good chance it's going to go down to like 20 and a half, okay? Because of some bearish divergence over here. But even if that's the case, that would just be a correction before it just pushes up higher, and that would just be a technical correction. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I hope this new mic is serving you well. And please let me know, please comment, let me know if this mic is working well or not. If not, I'm going to return it and try something else. So thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.